I truly empathize with people going through career transitions. One of my toughest transitions was in 2008. When the economy tanked, I was laid off from my work, and it took me a year and a half to secure a new job. During that time, I conducted self-assessments, arranged informational interviews, patrolled online job boards, improved my LinkedIn profile, wrote countless cover letters, tweaked my resume, prepared for interviews, completed internships, did volunteering, and went to many, many networking events. It was all pretty exhausting, and at times overwhelming and depressing, but I did learn a ton. And over time, I became very comfortable with all of these activities. So much so that now I help advise people on how to navigate this process, manage the inevitable frustrations, and avoid wasting time. Before starting Whole U, I worked at Harvard and MIT for 7 years. My favorite part of my time working in higher education was interacting with bright-eyed, ambitious students with big dreams. Whenever I could, I tried to support them with their projects, planning events, networking, traveling internationally, starting companies, and applying for jobs and grants. While working at MIT, I remember receiving an email request from a graduate student who I had never met in person. She was trying to help her friend network into a well-known design firm in Cambridge. She saw on LinkedIn that I had a few contacts at that company and hoped I could help her friend get the job she wanted. Energized by yet another opportunity to help someone, I was just about to launch into my regular routine of guiding her through the job application process described previously, which would likely take upwards of 5 hours of my time. But then I suddenly paused and thought to myself, I'm a busy person. This is not my job and I won't get paid for it. But maybe I should. So instead, I responded with, sure, I'd love to help your friend, and here are my fees. The person became my first paying client. I chose to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, a career and life strategy advisor. I chose this profession because I can use my skills and talents, thereby allowing me to help others joyfully. My professional life feels full of meaning and purpose. I love my work. But I did not always know that this is what I wanted to do. Like many people who find their calling, it's rarely a straight linear path to get there. In my case, I grew up in Europe for 10 years and frequently changed school systems. As a result, my education was pretty scrambled. I never excelled in academics and always felt pretty stupid. But in 1997, when I was a senior in high school, I took an entrepreneurship class outside of school that was held at Babson College. My teacher, Jennifer Kushel, was 23 at the time and soon became my first role model and mentor. I completed my first internship at her company, then called the Young Entrepreneurs Network, now called Your Success Network. This experience gave me confidence and made me feel like I had agency to build and create something on my own terms. This was one of the first times I remember feeling actively engaged and genuinely interested on a visceral level. I also remember that her colleague, Julie, helped me create my first resume, which was pivotal and made me excited to document my career evolution on paper. The following decade was spent in academia, 1 undergraduate degree, 2 graduate degrees, and 7 years at Harvard and MIT. During those 10 years, I studied educational media and technology. Originally, I wanted to be a humanitarian journalist, for example, reporting from developing countries. My first real steps on that path included majoring in communications while at Boston College, and then taking a journalism class at Harvard Summer School. Our professor was an investigative reporter based in DC. She told us tales about being on the case and popping out of hiding places to get the story. While that may sound exhilarating to some, it sounded pretty exhausting to me. The class also taught us that in order to make it in journalism, I would need to start out in random towns around the US and cover police reports, theft, fire, death, corruption, and natural disasters and other bad news. I had a big revelation that media was having a very negative effect on our psyche, essentially scaring the crap out of us, and I did not want to participate in any of that. It was a pretty easy decision to stop pursuing journalism, but I still believed in the power of educational media to have positive effects if used correctly. And the entrepreneurial spirit was always lingering in the background. So that's what inspired me to start Whole U TV, a channel on YouTube. Through Whole U TV, I could discuss topics that would have a positive influence on viewers' lives, inspiring and uplifting them, rather than making them feel bad about themselves and the world around them. In 2013, I left my full-time job at MIT to pursue Whole You full-time. The inspiration for Whole You was to be a university for the whole person, a place to uncover and address the stuff that doesn't get talked about in most university settings, unless you're a philosophy major. I thought the U could stand for university. Being in academia a while, I observed that some core content was missing from the curriculum, i.e. life skills. I wanted to help people to discover who they are and what they're great at, and how to communicate that and present that to employers and to the world at large. I help clients gain confidence in their choices on how they want to live their lives and what work they really want to pursue. I just want to help people. I hear this all of the time from clients. It seems to be something inherent in most human beings. And the irony is that in helping others, we help ourselves. As the author Ram Dass says, we are all just walking each other home. From the beginning, I've been committed to growing Whole You into something much bigger than myself. Hence why I didn't just call it Shannon O'Brien and Associates. The name Whole You reminds me that the mission is about each and every individual that interacts with this program. I chose this entrepreneurial path because it allows me freedom. I can create my own company culture. Where would I feel comfortable in? And choose to work with people I respect. At previous jobs, my bosses would communicate with me in ways that led me to feel paranoid and insecure. I did not feel encouraged. I did not feel free. But being my own boss means I get to be treated however I want. The entrepreneurial journey is not for everyone. I won't sugarcoat the story about how challenging it's been. For example, it took 5 years to finally earn the same amount I was previously making. But I do encourage clients to think like an entrepreneur, in that they know what they're great at, and they know what they love to do, and what their unique value proposition is. Through this process, I hope that people will be less caught up in trying to succeed according to some prescribed societal standards, and will instead be able to make their own decisions from their heart and truly live a balanced, purposeful life.